live. We're good. Yeah. David, you have a voice recorder? Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Okay. So now the Mishnah, we're up to the Mishnah. Daf Yomi on the Aleph on the bottom. B'shachar nevorech shtayim l'foneh v'achas te'achareh. In the morning, we say two brachos before Kriyas Shema. Now we're up to, we spoke about Kriyas Shema b'layla, Kriyas Shema b'yom. Now we're speaking about the berachot that the Chachamim were mitaken to say with Kriyas Shema. So in the morning, we say two brachot before, we know, Yotzer Or and Abba Olam. At night, we say, that's V'shtachar V'varech Shtayim L'foneh V'achas Achareh. V'erev, and at night, V'varech Shtayim L'foneh V'shtayim L'achareh. Two before, two after. What are those two before and two after? Right? Amari Varavim, Avat Olam is two before, and after is the bracha of Ge'al Yisrael, and Metru Munah, and Hashkirei. In the morning, it's two before, and one after of Ge'al Yisrael. Achat Arucha, Ve'achat K'tzara. One of the two at night after is long, and the other one is short. Hashkivenu is short. Now, why is it called Hashkivenu short? It's pretty long. It's short in comparison to Emet Ve'emunah. Makom she'amru laharich eino rishon lekatzer. Lekatzer eino rishon laharich. Now the Mishnah continues describing differences between long brachot and short brachot. If you have a long bracha, the Chachamim made it long, you can't make it short. If you have a short one, you can't make it long. Lachtom eino rashai shelo lachtom. If it ends with sealed off with Baruch Atah Hashem. Like for example, the bracha of these brachot, Ashkiven, you can't end it off without a bracha. Shelo lachtom eino rashai lachtom. But if it ends off without a Baruch Atah Hashem, for example, Birchat HaMitzvot and Birchat HaPerot, Rashi says Birchat HaPerot and Mitzvot, like Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Boreh Pri Ha'etz, we don't end off Baruch Atah Hashem something. We just said it once at the beginning and that was enough. Birchat HaMitzvot, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Asher Yidishanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivanu La'aniach Tefillin, and you don't say Baruch Atah Hashem something. That is so therefore those you can't end off, you can't decide that you want to add Baruch Atah Hashem. Now this altogether it's two in the morning, 2 and 1, that's 3, and at night it's 2 and 2, that's another 4, that's 7 altogether, which is based on the pasuk of Sheva Bayom Hilalticha, I will Lord praises on you 7 times every day. That's where it's based on to say these brachot. Says the Gemara, Mai Mevarech. Amar Rabbi Yaakov, Amar Rabbi Oshia. Yotzer Or U'Borech Choshech. He says the bracha of Yotzer Or U'Borech Choshech. Okay? Like we know in the morning. So the Gemara asks, Choshech is a little bit of a strong language and it speaks about darkness. Lema Yotzer Or U'Borech Noga. Which means, even though the pasuk that's based on in Yeshaya says Yotzer Or U'Borech Choshech, but there's a nicer language to use if they want to make a bracha. Yeshaya Hanavi said it for whatever, that was the nevuah. He was saying Yotzer Or U'Borech Choshech, but the Chachamim, when they were mitaken the bracha, they could have spoken about Noga. What's Noga? Noga is also darkness, but it means like the end of the day or the end of the night, when it's kind of dark, but there's a little bit of drop of light, and it's a dark period, but it's a nicer lashon, and we know that the Chachamim always speak in the cleanest, nicest language. So the Gemara answers Kidduchtiv Kamina. No, says the Gemara, it's better to say the language of the pasuk and not to change it around, even if it's going to be a cleaner language. That's a better thing to do. So it says the Gemara, Ela me'ata, really? You're telling me that the best thing is to just bring the language of the pasuk? So says the Gemara, the pasuk over there ends off, Oseh Shalom Uvorei ra. Ani Hashem oseh kolel. We know Yotzer or Baruch Hoshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. That's what we say. That's what we know. But the pasuk actually says oseh shalom uvorei ra. Now, if you want to be so exact, and always bring the exact pasuk, we should say uvorei ra. So the Gemara says, so do we really say the way it's written? Ela ktiv ra v'karin hakol lishna me'alya. Although it says ra, we read it hakol, which is a better language. Hachanami leimar noga lishna me'alya. So why don't we also change the first part of the pasuk to a better language? Ela amarava k'dei lahaskim midat yom halayla midat layla v'yom. The reason why we'd like to say Yotze or Uvorei Choshech is because we want to be very explicit. And we want to mention during the day hours, we want to mention that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Laila as well. And during the night, we want to mention that Hashem created Or. And we want to be very clear about it. So there's a girsa in the Gemara that there was a apikoros that told Rabbi, he said Chas v'shalom. He said, you see from this pasuk that the one who created Or was not the one who created Choshech, because the pasuk says Yotzer Or Uvorei Choshech. He fashioned light and he created. Why don't you just say Yotzer Or Choshech? Why are you putting another verb in Uvorei Choshech? Obviously, Chas v'shalom, he told him, we have two different, one fashioned Or, and one Borei made Choshech. So, Rabbi told him, you're a shota, you're a fool. Look at the end of the pasuk. It says the name of the Creator, Hashem Tzvakot Shemo. He has one name, Hashem Tzvakot Shemo. His Tzvakot means he's in charge of all the armies, the constellations of the world. So therefore, that's why this pasuk mentions both. Therefore, we want to show that there's only one creator for both. And that's why during the day hours, we don't mention, Yotzer Or. Say, okay, fine. Yotzer Or in the morning. Tonight, we'll talk about the Borei Choshech. No. In the morning, when we're speaking about Yotzer Or Borei Choshech, and at night, we'll speak about both of them as well. Therefore, we want to be very clear about it. So we don't start speaking about Noga. We want to keep the language of the pasuk, which is much clearer and stronger, and shows that Hashem created both.
They come from different places also. Yotzer Or probably comes from Yetzirah. Borei Choshech comes from Bria.
Right.
That's also
exactly. Says the Gemara, Bishlam midat layla v'yom kedamin Yotzer Or Borei Choshech. In the morning we say Yotzer Or Borei Choshech. So we say both. But where at night do we mention that Hashem doesn't just create the night, but He creates the day as well? Amar Abaye golel or b'pnei choshech v'choshech b'pnei or. Here you have it. In Amari Varavim, we say, so the Gemara says v'idach ma'ni. Okay, what's the other bracha? What's the other bracha that we say before Kriyat Shema B'Shachar? The first one you spoke about, Yotzer Or, Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Ahava Rabbah. That's what it's called. V'chein orei le Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Padat Berei, Ahava Rabbah. Tanya Nami Hachi, we also learn to the Braita, Ein Omer Ahavat Olam, El Ahava Rabbah. V'Rabbanan Amri, Ahavat Olam. V'chein Omer, Be'ahavat Olam, Ahavtich, Alkei Meshachdich Chassid. Find the pasuk that describes Hashem as an eternal love. The other language is Ahava Rabbah, great love. This is an everlasting love, and we find the pasuk. So that's why. Okay, so the machloket in halacha what we say, and I think that the Sfaradim and Nusach Sfarad says Ahavat Olam. Nusach Ashkenaz tries to make this Gemara work, so they say Ahava Rabbah in the morning and Ahavat Olam at night, to make both sides work. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Ishkim nishnot at shelo kara kriyat shema tzarich levarech. If a person got up to learn Torah, before he said Kriyat Shema, he has to say Birchat Torah. Right? Like all of us now, you have to say Birchat Torah before you learn Torah now, every morning. You didn't say Kriyat Shema. Mishakara Kriyat Shema Eino Tzarich Levarech Shekfar Niftar Be'ahava Rabbah. Once you said Kriyat Shema and you said the bracha of Ahava Rabbah, and you asked there the Ten B'Libeinu, and everything. So then you already said a bracha asking Hashem and speaking about Torah and thanking Hashem for the great love that He has given us the Torah. So you don't have to say Birchat Torah anymore afterwards. Okay? Amar Rav Huna. So Rav Huna said that once they're speaking about Birchat Torah, L'mikra. That is halacha, yes. Yes, that is halacha. You don't say Birchat Torah. It could be that they say in the halacha that after you finish Shmona Esrei, you should learn right away. And there's a Rishonim that speak about it. Why? Because just like you have to learn right after Birchat Torah, so that the bracha should go on some actual learning, like we do in the morning, we say Elu Dvarim and Yevrechacha. So too, after you finish Shmona Esrei, you should learn right away. Many Rishonim speak about that. Why aren't you say with Kriyat Shema? It's a good question, because maybe you weren't doing it for the Torah Shabbat, you were doing it for the mitzvah. That's the halacha, yes. That is the halacha. Okay, Amar Avuna, l'nikra tzarich levarech, u'l'midrash, if you're going to say psukim, you have to say Birchat Torah. Because Torah needs berachot. You cannot speak words of Torah. The Vilna Goyim, not this sugya right now here, he says even to think Torah. But whatever it is, whether it's speaking or thinking, it's only psukim. But u'l'midrash eno tzarich levarech. But to be doresh psukim, like the midrashim, the mechilta, sifra, sifri, all those things, eno tzarich levarech, you don't have to make a bracha. Because the bracha was nikva, was established for psukim, real psukim. Now, is that the halacha? We'll see right now. That's the shita of Rav Huna. Rabbi Elazar Amar, Mikra midrash tzarich levarech. Even midrashim, which are expounding the psukim, that's very close to the pasuk, and you have to make a bracha. The Mishnah eno tzarich levarech. But he agrees with Rav Huna that at least he agrees with Rav Huna that the only chiyuv to be mevarech was established over Torah shebichtav. Now, Rav Huna said real Torah shebichtav, not expounding the psukim. Mamash, if you're going to say the words, Rabbi Elazar, he took it a little further, and he said even if you expound the psukim, but they both agree that if you're going to learn Torah Sheba'al Peh, you don't need to make Birkat Torah. Because although, of course, it's Torah, of course, it's a mitzvah, they're not arguing about that. But the bracha was not established unless you actually speak about psukim or drashot of psukim. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Af leMishnah nami tzarich levarech, aval Talmud eino tzarich levarech. Rabbi Yochanan says, La'asok b'divrei Torah, right? Rav Huna and Rabbi Elazar say the words La'asok b'divrei Torah, to be involved, has to do with someone with the words of the psukim. Rabbi Yochanan says no. La'asok means to be involved in the halachot that come out of the psukim as well, which is Mishnah. And if you have to make a bracha. Aval Talmud eino tzarich levarech. But Talmud Gemara right now, that's the svarot, the understanding of the Mishnah. That you don't have to figure out why and the what. Rava says, even for Gemara, you need to make a bracha, because, as we learned already before in berachot, Daf Hey, and all over Shas many times, Gemara says, and Rashi explains it, it's impossible to understand the halacha unless you figure out all of its reasonings, and therefore, it's the main limud for a Jew is Gemara, so that he can understand the halacha that he's performing and understand all of its reasons. And therefore, of course, says Rabbi, you do say la'asok b'divrei Torah on the words of Gemara. There were many times that I came before Rav to learn our perek bistifra of the Beit Midrash of Rav. Have a marked b'kamashi yadei varich umati lam pikin. So what did he do? And Sifrat Ve'Rav is not psukim itself. And what did he do? He would get up, wash his hands, make uvarich, kamashei de uvarich, and he would make a bracha umatnei lam pikin. And then he would teach us the perek. So you see that even for Talmud, you need Birchat Torah. So they all ask that Sifra Ve'Rav is just Midrashim. It's not real Gemara. And what they answer, the Tzlach and the Goyim, they answer that he wasn't just Doresh the Psukim. He went into what happened was, he explained what he was really doing. Rav was explaining. He's explaining how the drashot come about, and therefore what he was really doing was included in Talmud and not in the psukim. And you still see that he made a bracha. So the Gemara asks, "My mevarech, what's the bracha of Birchat Torah?" Amar Rabbi Yehuda Mashmuel Shekidishanu b'mitzvotav. You sanctified us with your mitzvot. V'tzivanu la'asot b'divrei Torah. You commanded us to be involved in the words of Torah. La'asot b'divrei Torah. Rabbi Yochanan misayim b'hachi. And Rabbi Yochanan, he said that you have to finish that bracha with Baruch Atah Hashem. It's not enough to just say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu V'Chalam Shekidishanu Mitzvanu La'asok B'Divrei Torah. You have to end it with another Baruch Atah Hashem. And therefore, he would say that there was more words that were added to this bracha. Haret na Hashem Elokeinu et Divrei Toratcha b'finu u'b'tviyot amcha Beit Yisrael. Sweeten, please, Hashem Elokeinu, the words of your Torah in our mouths and in the mouths of all of Beit Yisrael. V'ni anachnu v'tzetzaenu v'tzetzai amcha Beit Yisrael, and let us and our offspring and the offspring of the nation of Beit Yisrael, of your nation Beit Yisrael. Kulanu yodei shemecha, we should all know your name, ve'oskei Toratecha, and be those who are involved in your Torah. So you're really asking Hashem that all the Jews should be involved in Torah. Now, what does Shemecha have to do with anything? Know your name? What does it have to do with learning Torah? Because all the words of Torah are the names of Hashem. Every word of Torah is the name of Hashem. Baruch Atah Hashem hamlamed Torah le'amo Yisrael. Okay? So,
what does it mean, Zimnin Sagin? A little before, a few lines before. So Rabbi Chia says, Zimnin Sagin. What is Sagin?
many. Harbe.
Or many, it's not big.
Harbe.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the bracha that Rabbi Yochanan said we have to say. Because we have to end it off Baruch Atah Hashem, and that's why it's all really one bracha. And that's why if you hear someone saying the bracha in the morning, you don't say Amen after he finishes the word La'asot b'divrei Torah. He's not done yet. He has to say the Harev Na as well.
You don't answer on that?
You don't answer on that. You only answer at the end of Baruch Atah Hashem Hamlamed Torah La'amo Yisrael, because he's joining them together, so you should have an ending of Baruch Atah Hashem Hamlamed Torah La'amo Yisrael. Now, Rav Hanuna Amar Asher Bach Havanu B'Kol Hamim V'Natananu V'Torato Baruch Atah Hashem Noten Torah. That you have chosen us from all the nations, even before the Torah was given. On the second day of Sivan, he said, "V'yitem li segula mikol ha'amim." You'll be a treasured nation. You're different already. You're holy, and you've given us your Torah. Baruch Atah Hashem Noten Torah. This one is the greatest one of all the brachot, because you're praising Hashem, and it's also you're thanking Hashem, and also praising the Torah and Klal Yisrael. Right? We were the chosen ones. So we're thanking Hashem, praising the Torah, praising Klal Yisrael. Therefore, it was chosen from all the three berachot to be said before you read the Torah. When you get an aliyah, what do we say? This bracha. Because this one is the greatest one from all three. Hilkach says the Gemara, Lemrinu lekulu. Therefore, since there are so many different ways to thank Hashem the Torah, therefore you should say all three brachot before you learn Torah. That's what we do. Now, just quickly, it's brought down in many places. Ashkenazic sources, Sephardic sources, Jewish sources. Great Sfarim, okay? That if a person wants siyata d'shmaya, heavenly assistance, to learn Torah, have yirat shamayim, then he should say these brachot with tremendous kavanah, a lot of kavanah, strong intentions. Every single word said clearly. And another great segula is that you should say them with simcha, tremendous simcha. Reb Chaim Volozhin has said that. If a person says these two brachot with a lot of joy, he'll have a lot of joy in his Torah, and he'll have help in understanding the Torah. Why? Very simply and very short. Because he's telling Hashem how excited he is to thank Hashem for the greatest present. So Hashem says, oh, this one understands. He understands that I just gave him the greatest present. Somebody else could come in and say, oh, there's a chiyuv I have to make. Hashem says, okay. How much do you appreciate the Torah? I didn't see you going crazy. But the other guy, he's Baruch Atah Hashem, can't believe it that he's so happy that every word is precious. It's like you go to the king to thank him for the greatest present. You don't just say it quick. I should say, oh, you appreciate the present, so you will continuously receive this present, and I'll help you understand the present and put it together. Okay. Tanan Hatam Amalei Mamuna. Okay. There's a Mishnah in masechet Tamid. Now, when the Kohanim would bring the korban tamid of the morning, after they placed the limbs of the korban tamid shel shachar, which was brought after alot hashachar, before netzach hama, on top of the ramp of the mizbeach, and they would salt them, they would then wait, go down to the offices of the gazit to say kriyat shema. Now, they had a short version of prayer, and it was before Netzach Hama. Amar lahem hamamuneh. So the sgan of the Kohanim, the Kohen Gadol, would tell the Kohanim, Bachu bracha achat. Say one of the brachot before Kriyat Shema. Vehem bechu. Which bracha? We'll see soon. Okay? The Karu Aseret HaDibrot. They said the Aseret HaDibrot. Shema, V'hayam Shema, Vayom. Now, why are they saying Shema now? After Alot HaShachar, could you say Shema? You could. We learned before. But, it's only B'diyemet. Really, the Mishnah said before, Ben Tchelet Lekarti. Mishayake Adam et Chavero B'richuk Dalid Amot. You should really wait for, after you can see the difference between Tchelet and green, right? Or you recognize your friend, which is after Alot HaShachar. And the best time is really right before Netzach Hama. But they did it right after Alot HaShachar. Now, you Yotze B'di'evet, but why did they do something B'di'evet? Because they were worried that they would be involved with too much avodah, and that would not allow them to say Kriyat Shema at the right time. And therefore they said it now. To be Yotze B'di'evet.
Amen.
Just one quick question, and I don't want to take too much time. The word Harevna means Sweden. I just don't understand why. I mean, it could have been any word. It could have been like, and help me internalize, like the word itself. Why did they choose that word?
Yeah, there's a lot to speak about on that. There's a lot to speak about, and it's a very, very good point. And what the short version of the answer is that it's an excellent point what you said. And the point and the answer is that obviously the Chachamim picked this word. Not help me understand, not this, but sweeten. So you see from here that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what does He want when you learn Torah? He wants you to learn Torah and study the books. Find out what I told you to do. No. He wants you to enjoy it. He wants you to, it's a present. It's full of honey. It's sweet. The greatest thing is to learn Torah. When a person takes on a new endeavor like this, like Daf Yomi and all these types of anything that anybody does, anything, even 1 minute a day, and especially something that's difficult for people early in the morning, a whole daf a day, every day. I told you before we started learning from Rav Shach, he says, Tamu u'le'u ki tov Hashem. You shouldn't feel a burden. Oh, I have this year and I have another year, but I have to go to another year. No, it's like another dessert. Tamu u'le'u ki tov Hashem. Taste and see that Hashem is good. If Torah doesn't taste good in your mouth and it's too burdensome, then you're not approaching it correctly. You have to reframe, revisit how you're approaching Torah. Maybe you should start saying your berachot with more kavanah and with more simcha. Whatever it is. Okay. Excellent point. Then they said, Shema v'hayim shema v'yomer u'bechul ha'am shalosh berachot. And then they said, Shema v'hayim shema v'yomer u'bechul ha'am shalosh berachot. What are they? Emet v'yatziv, va'avodah. It was a very similar bracha to the bracha of avodah that we say. It was similar to that. U'brikat kohanim. Okay? U'b'shabbat, mosifim bracha achat l'mishma yotzeh. On Shabbat, when the Mishma yotzeh, we know there are 24 watchings, different groups. And on Shabbat they would switch. So if there were 24 groups, everybody got to come about twice a year. So the group that was leaving brought the early korban, the korban Tamid Shel Shachar, and the Musafir. The one that came in brought the afternoon, and they brought the two bowls of levona on top of the lechem apanim, and therefore this mishmar that was exiting, they said they added a bracha. Okay. What's the bracha they added? We'll see later on. But the Gemara wants to revisit the beginning. It says that they said one bracha before they said Kriyat Shema. Right? One bracha. The Gemara says, which one? My bracha achat. Was it Yotzer Or, that we say in the morning? Or was it Avat Olam, that we say in the morning? So the Gemara says, Ki had Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Ikul Lahu At. There was a story that Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Yossi Rabbi visited a certain city. Ba'u minayu, the people asked them, "My bracha achat." They asked them this question: what does the Mishnah mean when it says that they said one bracha? Which one of the two? Lo hava biyadayim. They didn't have it in their hands, which means they didn't know. The Atu Shadu the Rav Matna. So then they came to ask Rav Matna. Lo hava biyadayim. He also didn't know. Atu Shadu the Rav Yehuda Amalahu. Hachi Amar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda said, "This is what my Rabbi Shmuel said." Ahava Rabbah. However, the Amar Rav Zrika, Amar Rabbi Ami, Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. Rabbi Zrika said in the name of Rabbi Ami, in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Yotzer Or. It wasn't Ahava Rabbah, it was the first one. Okay, we have a machloket of what it was. Ki ata Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef Amar. When Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef came from Eretz Yisrael to Babel, he said, "Ha de Rabbi Zrika la b'feivish itmar el michlala itmar." This that Rabbi Zrika said in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. He didn't say it in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish explicitly. That Rabbi Lakish said this straight out. That he said it's Yotzer Or. No. Rather, it's from a statement that Rabbi Lakish said. Rabbi Zrika was able to infer and to glean off and to understand that Rabbi Lakish felt that what the bracha that the Kohanim said before Kriyat Shema was Yotzer Or. So what was that statement? Amar Rabbi Zrika, Amar Rabbi Ami, Amar Rabbi Shimon Lakish. Zot omeret, from this Mishnah, we can. It actually Zot omeret literally is. This tells us. This Mishnah tells us. Berachot ein akvot zu. That one bracha is not essential for the other bracha. If you said one bracha without the other bracha, maybe you didn't get both brachot, but the bracha that you did say was okay. Now, does that indicate which bracha he meant? All he said is that since we see that the Kohanim said only one bracha and not two brachot, obviously they're not essential. One is not me'akev the other. Because if they're both me'akev the other, what's the point in saying one? But he doesn't say which one. So how did Rav Zrika get some sort of indication that he meant Yotzer Or? So the Gemara explains like this. If you tell me that they said Yotzer Or, they didn't say Avarabba, so then he has a nice proof. Because they didn't say Avarabba, they only said Yotzer Or. And the Shlokish says, you see from here, that you could, one of them is suffices. Ela'i amit Avarabba hava amri. My brachot enak vozuetzu. But if you tell me that they said Avarabba, then how do you know that you don't have to say both? Maybe they didn't say Yotzer Or yet, because you can't say Yotzer Or when there's no Or. Abotai, when were they doing this? They were saying this before Netzach Hama, after Elot HaShachar. Right? Like right now. Actually not yet. Elot HaShachar is 5:56. So, no. Yeah.
It was before Netz?
5:56. 5 what?
Before Netz it was?
This was before Netz. It was after the Karban Tamid Shel Shachar, before the Netzach Hama, and that's why.
So why do we do the Birkat HaKohanim after Netz now?
All of this was special for the Kohanim because they were going to be very busy later on with the Avodah and they wouldn't be able to pray at the proper time. But we say it in the proper time. After Netzach Hama, we do Kriyat Shema after Netzach Hama, everything after Netzach Hama. Okay, but Yotzer Or is not able to be said. So it's possible that they actually had to say both. Why? Because if you say one, it doesn't work. Each one is contingent, dependent on the other. So how are they going to be Yotzei Avarabba that they say now? Only if they say Yotzer Or. But they can't say Yotzer Or at this point in time because you can't say the words, he fashioned light before the light.
But the moon is a light. The moon is a light.
No.
Is that the Torah light? Or are you talking
Yeah,
about
no, I think it's referring to the light of the sun.
only light of the
I
sun?
think so. Yeah.
Daily.
The light that we get a lot of light from. The moonlight is very weak. So we're praising Hashem Yotzer Or for the, yeah. So therefore, like, everybody understand the proof? Again, let's just quickly say the proof because I don't know if everybody has it clearly. If they said Yotzer Or, so why don't they say Avarabba? Avarabba you don't have to wait for after Netzach Hama. Right? So I guess they're saying Yotzer Or even though the Or didn't come. But they said Yotzer Or. Because there's a little bit of Or, there's Elot HaShachar, and they're referring to the Or that's coming soon. So why don't they say Avarabba? The answer is because they have to have a short version. And you see from here that you don't have to have both of them said. Because if both of them need to be said, then they should say both together. But if you tell me that the one bracha they said was Avarabba, there's no proof that the brachot are not ma'akev, or perhaps they are ma'akev one to the other. And the only reason they didn't say Yotzer Or is because perhaps you can't say Yotzer Or until the Or comes out. So therefore it must be that if Rav Shlokish said Einon me'akvot zu et zu, that we learn from this saying one bracha that the other that they're not essential one for the other. Obviously he was talking about Yotzer Or. That's how Rav Zrika understood that Rav Shlokish must hold that the one bracha they said was Yotzer Or. So he didn't really actually say anything. He just said this. So the Gemara says, okay. So he didn't hear it straight to Rav Shlokish. He only inferred it from Rav Shlokish's statement. Okay, Big deal. So what? So, but at least he got it. He's telling you what Rav Shlokish holds. Says Gemara, no. Because I can really tell you that if you tell me that it's only Michlala, and they really said, you tell me they said Yotzer Or, I can really say it's not true. I can tell you that really, according to Rav Shlokish, the bracha that they said before was Avarabba. And when the time of Yotzer Or came after Netzach Hama, they actually said Yotzer Or. So, my brachot ein akvot zu. Say the brachot. So, if they ended up saying both of them later, say, how could Rav Shlokish say from here that the brachot are not me'akev? You tell me, Rav Shlokish really holds that they said both brachot, Avarabba, and they said Yotzer Or later on. So what does it mean, brachot are not me'akev, one to the other? Of course they're me'akev. How do you see that? They ended up saying both of them. The answer is, but they didn't say them in the right order. And all Rav Shlokish meant was that you don't need the right order. Because they said Avarabba before Yotzer Or. And they only said Yotzer Or when the Or came after Netzach Hama. And yet everything was fine. So obviously what Rav Shlokish meant was that the order of the brachot won't mess up the fulfillment of the brachot. But you don't have a real proof, says the Gemara to Rav Zirka, from the words of Rav Shlokish, that the bracha that they said before is Yotzer Or. You can interpret Rav Shlokish's words and still say that he held that the bracha that they said first was Avarabba. And even though they said Avarabba, they said Yotzer Or afterwards, and all he meant was Eina Akva Zu in the Seder of the brachot. Okay? Therefore, the Gemara says we don't have a clear proof from Reish Lakish. And it's important to know that, because Reb Zrika's statement becomes a lot weaker. Okay? Reb Zrika felt it wasn't like this. But the Gemara is saying that Reb Zrika's statement is vulnerable to an attack, to a dichui. You can deflect it. It's possible to deflect. The Gemara says now, the Gemara now focuses on the next part of the Mishnah. B'korin aseret hadibrot shema v'hayom shemo v'yom emet v'yatzi v'avodah v'berkat kohen. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Mashmol, af b'gvulin b'kshu l'krot. Even in the gvulin, which means the other parts of Eretz Yisrael, they wanted to read in the manner that they did in the Beit HaMikdash, meaning to say Kriyat Shema. To say Aseret HaDibrot when they say Kriyat Shema. But they already stopped it because of those who are Oved Avodah Zarah. Those Oved Avodah Zarah would say, oh, you see, Aseret HaDibrot is the Torah. You see, every morning, what do? You say Aseret HaDibrot because you heard that on Har Sinai. Okay? Now, what would they do with Kriyat Shema? The people, the meaning would say, all you heard was Aseret HaDibrot, and that's why every morning you say Aseret HaDibrot. The rest of the Torah, they would say Chas V'Shalom, they would say, Now, how would they explain that you're saying Kriyat Shema? Where's Kriyat Shema from? Now, Yomer is from Shlach. V'hayam Shemoah from Eikev. Shema from Vet Chanan. So there's other parts of the Torah. So I see that they asked this question here. But Al Kol Panim, they would say the main point of the Torah was Aseret HaDibrot, and everything else is not really part of the Torah. So therefore they said, stop saying Aseret HaDibrot. Tanya Rabbi Yochanan Rav Natan Omer, Agudin Bikshu L'Krot Kei El Shekvar B'Klum B'Pnei Taromet Hamini. Same thing. Rabbi Baruch Bachana Saval L'Mikve'ina B'Sura, Amar L'Rav Chizda Kvar B'Klum B'Pnei Taromet Hamini. He wanted to establish it in Surah. It was a great, strong bastion of Torah there in Surah. Rav Chizda told him, no. They already stopped doing this because of the minim. He wanted to establish it in the other great city of Nada. Amar le Ravashi kvar bitum teitaram tamin. Okay. Uv'Shabbat mosifim bracha achat l'nishma yotze. What was this special bracha that they would add when they were leaving? The group that already served one whole week, they leave on Shabbat. The Mishnah said they would add a bracha. What was this bracha? My bracha achat, Amar Rabbi Chevel, Mishmar Yotzeh. Omer la Mishmar HaNichnas. They would say to the entering Mishmar. This group of Kohanim, this family would say to the group that was entering on Shabbat, Misha Sheken et Shemo b'bayit hazeh, the one who rests his name in this home, Kadosh Baruch Hu yashkin beinechem ahava ve'achva v'shalom v'reut. He should dwell amongst you with love, brotherhood, peace, and friendship. Beautiful bracha. Okay, now the Mishnah, going back to the Mishnah. This is on, right? Okay. No, I didn't press it. Yeah? So,
That's a phone, by the way.
this is a phone. Don't educate. So, Mekom she'amru la'arich. The Mishnah said, wherever the Chamim said, make a long bracha, you have a long bracha. Wherever they said to have a short bracha, you have a short bracha. Don't make long ones short, don't make short ones long. Don't make ones that end with Baruch Atah Hashem into ones that don't end with Baruch Atah Hashem. And don't make ones that don't end with Baruch Atah Hashem and add your own Baruch Atah Hashem. The way the Chachamim did Matbeah, Shetavu Chachamim, that means the way that they coined it, the way that they established it, is the way that you make it.
Are there rules for this? Or just whatever they make?
They had
Can I
rules.
get parallel?
They had rules, yeah. Like, for example, Bechata Perot and Mitzvot, you never chotem with Baruch Atah Hashem.
Right.
There are many rules. But you can't decide to switch it around. So the Gemara says, okay. Now, the Gemara wants to know like this, and it's going to go back to this Mishnah. What happens if a person begins to make a bracha with intention that is incorrect? And then, by the time he gets to the end of the bracha, he has the right intentions. What's the case? Says the Gemara, Pshita, this is simple. The following case is simple. A person is holding a cup of wine in his hand. But he thinks that it's beer. Well, the bracha on wine is hakafen, on beer it's shakol. And he says, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, thinking that he's going to say shakol because it's beer. By the time he says melech haolam, suddenly after that he sees in the cup, oh, what am I doing? What am I thinking that I'm going to end off saying shakol? It's a cup of wine. I have to end off saying Borei Pri Hagafen. So, and he ends off Borei Pri Hagafen, Yatsa. Says the Gemara, that's Pashut, that he's Yotzei. He said it right, he's okay. The Inami Im Amar Shakol Niyeh B'dvaro Yatsa. Why is he okay? Because even had he finished the bracha, thinking it was beer, and saying, okay, Shakol Niyeh B'dvaro, everything's fine. Because we know that Tanan, Al Kulam HaMemar Shakol Niyeh B'dvaro Yatsa. The Mishnah says later on in brachot, that even though there are specific designated brachot for all foods, but if you say Shakol Niyeh B'dvaro, by mistake, you're Yotzeh. Because Shakol Niyeh B'dvaro is a very general statement that he made everything. Everything came through his word. Everything comes through his word. Okay? Niyeh. So, therefore, the bracha can't be worse than a Shakol. The worst you can make this bracha is saying, oh, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu B'chalam. You know what you were thinking, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu B'chalam, that shakol. So the beginning of that bracha was a shakol also. Okay, if it's a shakol, I'm yotzei anyways. So that's pashut, says the Gemara. Everybody get that? Okay. But if a person's holding a cup of beer, the opposite case. and he thinks it's wine. He starts making the bracha thinking he's going to end with Borei Pri Hagafen. So he's thinking, praising Hashem in the words Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam. He's already thinking, you created the vine, the fruit of the vine. Wow. And then he realizes, one second, it's beer. And he finishes, then he says, She'akol niyeh b'dvaro. So now, the beginning of the bracha was Baruch Hashem Melech HaOlam of a Borei Pri Hagafen. The end ended off with She'akol. So Batar Ikar Bracha Zina. Do we go after the beginning of the bracha? And since the beginning of the bracha was made, because the beginning of the bracha is really the bracha. That's when you say, blessed are you. The end of the bracha is only to explain the details of what we're blessing you for. But the actual bracha is at the beginning. So maybe that's the main part of the bracha. And therefore, that's called Ikar Bracha. And the beginning of the bracha was made for wine. So it's as if you made a Borei Pri Hagafen on wine. And Borei Pri Hagafen on wine doesn't help for beer, because beer has nothing to do with a vine. So even though you finished it off, She'akol niyeh b'dvaro, but the beginning intentions are very important. They change the bracha automatically, even though you didn't see the word vine yet, it's already a bracha on the vine. It is a bracha on the vine. And you can't make a bracha on the vine on beer. Or maybe no. You say, look, how did he end these words? He said, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam. He's thinking about wine. True. But he ended up fixing it and saying, you know what? I'm still keeping the words, blessed are you, Hashem, Master, King of the world. Elokeinu. But I'd like to shift my thoughts to something else. To the fact that everything comes through your mouth, She'akol niyeh b'dvaro, and now you can still use the earlier words for beer. That's the question. So the Gemara wants to bring a proof from a Braita. Toshima. It says in the Braita, Shacharit, in the morning, Patach. You started the first bracha. Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam, the one of Yotzer Or, the Yotzer Or, V'siyem b'ma'ariv aravim. But you didn't say the words Yotzer Or. You said Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam, right? Thinking Yotzer Or, and then you say Ma'ariv aravim. Lo yatza. You didn't Yotzer because you didn't make the right bracha. But Patach b'ma'ariv aravim. But if you opened, whenever we say open, we mean Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam. Those words. You open up thinking that you're going to say Hama'ariv aravim. But V'siyem b'yotzer or. At the end you fix yourself up correctly. You're like, what am I doing? It's not nighttime. It's morning. So you say Yotzer or. Yatza. Same thing at night. Avit. At nighttime. Patach. You say Baruch Atah Hashem. To continue. You're thinking you want to continue properly. B'ma'ariv aravim. But a second later, you make a mistake, you're tongue-tied, V'siyem b'yotzer or, and you end with saying Yotzer Or. Lo yatza. Patach b'yotzer or. Right? Why lo yatza? One second. Because you ended off the wrong bracha. But patach b'yotzer or. But if you start off thinking that you want to make the wrong bracha, V'siyem b'ma'ariv aravim, and you end off fixing it, yatza. Klalo shel davar hakol holech achitum. Says the Braita, what is the general rule to remember the law? Everything goes after the ending. So as long as you ended it off correctly, even though the beginning, your thoughts, when you said Baruch Atah Hashem was for something else, it's okay. So here too, if you're holding a cup of beer, and you're thinking you want to praise Hashem for the fruit of the vine, when you say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam, but you end it off properly with She'akol niyeh b'dvaro, you're okay. So the Gemara is bringing a great proof from the Braita. Says the Gemara, no proof. Why? Shani hata the ka'ama baruch yotzei ha'ma'orot. Because at the end of that bracha, all the way at the end of the morning bracha, what do you say? Baruch atah Hashem yotzei ha'ma'orot, who fashioned the lights. So therefore, the end of the bracha is also as great as the ikar ha'bracha. What was so great about the ikar ha'bracha? you said Baruch Atah Hashem. Guess what? You're going to do that Baruch Atah Hashem at the end of the long bracha in the morning, right? You end it off with Baruch Atah Hashem Yotzer HaMeorot. So that also has the koach of the Ikar HaBracha. So if it has the koach of the Ikar HaBracha, so it's possible that you really need the Ikar HaBracha to work. And you don't just look at the end. When the Braita said that you look at the ending, what they meant was the end, not Baruch Atah Hashem Yotzer. I fixed myself. That's the ending. The ending means the end of the whole bracha when he says Baruch Atah Hashem Yotzer HaMeorot, which really has the power of an Ikar bracha. And really, it's possible that the Braita really, what the Braita cares about is actually the Ikar bracha, and not just the last words, the ending of the bracha. However, by the case of the beer, you don't have an ending of Baruch Atah Hashem. You only have She'akol Niyeh B'Dvaro. She'akol Niyeh B'Dvaro, that's not what the Braita meant when it says Chitum. Okay? And therefore you don't have a proof in this Braita that you're okay in this story. So the Gemara says, that only works. That deflection only works. This works very nicely with Rav that says that if any bracha that doesn't have the name of Hashem is not a bracha, that works very nicely. Because you can have a bracha that doesn't have malchut. Rav says later on in berachot that a bracha that doesn't have the name of Hashem is not a bracha. What about a bracha that has the name of Hashem but doesn't have Melech HaOlam? That's a bracha. So therefore, according to Rav, the Chatima at the end of Yotzer Or, what do we say, Rabbi? At the beginning of the bracha in the morning, we say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam. But at the end, how do we end? Baruch Atah Hashem Yotzer HaMeorot, without Melech HaOlam. So according to Rav says Melech HaOlam, not Melech HaOlam. It's very nice. You should say Melech HaOlam when you have to. He's not saying you don't say it. But that's not what makes the bracha into a bracha. And therefore, according to Rav, the ending can have the same significance, not just significance, the same level of Ikar bracha, of being the main bracha, as the beginning. Although, albeit that at the last bracha you don't say Melech HaOlam. Because Rav never required Malchut for a bracha. So therefore we can deflect the proof of the Braita that we said before by saying that the Braita meant the Chitum all the way at the end, because at the end you also have a very strong bracha. Rav says that bracha will be a very strong bracha. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, the Omar called bracha she'en b'malchut, ein bracha, ma'ikal meimar. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, that says if you don't have malchut, that's not a real bracha. So the bracha that we say at the end of Yotzer HaMeorot, according to Rabbi Yochanan, that can never have the status of Ikar bracha, because you don't say Melech HaOlam. So obviously the Braita could not have meant that the end of the whole entire bracha is the Ikar bracha, and the Braita is really only fixing the guy up because at the end he has the Ikar bracha. That's not an Ikar bracha. According to Rabbi Yochanan, the only Ikar bracha you have in this whole large bracha of the morning is only at the beginning. So obviously the Braita must have meant that you fixed yourself up with the ending. The Braita must have meant with the ending that you said Yotzer Or. Meaning, and when it says everything goes after the Chitum, it means the fact that you finished the bracha saying it correctly, even though you had the wrong intention. And therefore, according to Rabbi Yochanan, there will be an amazing proof from the Braita. That means if you're holding a cup of beer, and you're thinking Baruch Atah Hashem for the vine of the fruit of the vine, the wine, but then you fix it up with the chitum, and you say, no, it's beer, she'akol niyeh b'dvaro, you're okay. Good? So the Gemara says, very nice point, says Gemara. And it would seem that according to Rabbi Yochanan, you have a proof from the Breita. And when the Breita says, Hakol olech achar achitum, the Breita means how you end off any bracha. As long as you fix it, it's okay. However, says the Gemara, it's not a proof, even according to Rabbi Yochanan. Why? Gemara is saying, since we learned from Rabbi Bar Ula that the Chachamim specifically at night and in the morning wanted a person to mention this attribute to Hashem, that He creates night and day. And in the morning also, you wanted to say that He makes day and night. We don't want you to ever think, Chas v'shalom, that there are two different creators. One is relegated to the domain of day, and one is to the domain of night, Chas v'shalom. Therefore we say Yotzer or Uvarech Hashem, and at night we say Golel Tech Hashem. So therefore, Ki ka'ama bracha u'machut me'ikara atavayu ka'amar. So when he said Baruch Atah Hashem, and he said Melech Olam, what was he thinking? He was thinking about these two midot, day and night. So, let's say he was thinking, you know what? Right now it's nighttime. He's making a mistake. He's thinking Baruch Atah Hashem. He wants to say Hama'ariv Aravim, right? So it doesn't bother us. It doesn't bother us that you want to say Ma'ariv Aravim. Why? Because whatever you want to say is going to mention the other attribute as well. At night you mention daytime, and then at day you mention nighttime. So although you thought it was night, it's not so bad. Because even if I'm going to end off the wrong way is not so wrong. You're going to be mentioning the right. So therefore, included in the words Baruch Atah Hashem, there's already a praise for the day. I'm thinking I want to say the bracha of Hama'ariv Aravim. What's in that bracha? A praise for the day also. So really, included in the thoughts of Baruch Atah Hashem, you're so great, Melech HaOlam, I'm already thinking about the praise of the day. That's why when I fix it up, and I say, oh, it's morning, excuse me, what am I doing? Yotzer or Uvarech Hoshech, and I speak about the right bracha, you're not really getting off track, totally, going on to a new track. You already were on the new track that you're going to. Because thinking that I'm going to say the bracha of night includes the morning praises. That's why that's a special case. Says the Gemara, that Breita, you cannot learn any halachot from that Breita to all other brachot. When a person's standing there with a cup of beer, and he's thinking he wants to praise Hashem for the wine, and then he switches tracks back to the shakol, he might have messed himself up. Because the Iker bracha, the original bracha, had no intentions whatsoever about shakol yevvaro. But that's not the case in the Breita of Kriyat Shema. And that's why you can't bring any proofs from the Breita of Kriyat Shema. Tashma says the Gemara, wait, I could still bring a proof from the end of the Breita. Because the end of the Breita says, Klalo shel davar, hakol olech achar chitum. Klalo shel davar la'atu yemai. What do you mean, klalo shel davar? Why do you have to tell me that? Braitot and Mishnayot don't tell you, oh, by the way, let me sum it up for you. The general rule is the following. If it ever says that, it means it's coming to include other cases. Meaning, not only here, but other places as well. Other places as well. So not only here, where we just finished saying that here might be different because you're already including everything, even in the wrong intentions. You mean everywhere else, even when I'm holding a cup of beer? Lav de'atuye hoda'am. So it's no. It's not coming to include that case. Le'atuye nama v'tami. It's coming only to include a case of bread and dates. Now, what is that case? We'll see in a moment. What the Gemara means is like this. It's true that the case in the Breita is more inclusive, and it is extended to other brachot as well, not only the berachot of Kriyat Shema. However, it might be extended to a case that's not such a great chidush. you don't know. You don't know for certain that you can extend it to the case of the beer and the wine. That would be too much of chidush. I can lower the chidush to a smaller chidush and say it's talking about a case of bread and dates. What's the case? Hechidami. Says the Gemara. He's eating bread. He forgets that he's about to eat bread. He picks up the bread and he thinks he's about to eat dates. And he says, but he's not thinking Hamotzelach Menaretz. He's thinking Borei Priya Eitz. And actually, the case of the Gemara here is after he ate them. He starts saying the bracha, and for after the what is it called? After grace, after meals. Birkat Hamazon. Birkat Hamazon. Still again. The Birkat Hamazon he wants to make after the bread. And he forgot that he ate bread. And so he thinks he's about to make ala eitz v'al priya eitz. He says, Baruch atah Hashem, he's thinking ala eitz v'al priya eitz. And then he remembers, what am I doing? I just ate bread. Hazan et ha'olam kulo v'tuvo. He starts with Birkat Hamazon. If that's the case that you mean, Hainu Bayan, that's our shayla. So if you tell me that you want to extend the bright to that case, that's the exact same chidush as the case of the beer and the wine. So you're not helping yourself by deflecting and saying, no, it's not the case of the beer and the wine, it's the case of the bread and the dates. That's the same halacha, the same case. Lotzricha, what we mean is as follows. He ate dates. So what does he have to say for a bracha? Ala eitz. But he thought that he ate bread. So when he starts blessing, he thinks he's blessing Hashem Birkat Hamazon. Upatach b'denahama v'sim b'vitami. So he says, Baruch atah Hashem l'kiram v'chalam. He's about to think, he's thinking, I'm going to say Hazan to Olam. Suddenly he realizes, what am I doing? I only ate dates. And he finishes it off with Ala eitz. Okay? Now what would happen had he finished the bracha with Hazan Olam? He said, regular Birkat Hamazon after eating dates, Yatza. He's Yotzeh. Specifically by dates. Why? My time at the Tami Nami Mason time. Because the Gemara says dates satiate like bread. And therefore, you can say the bracha of Hazan et ha'olam. Okay? Not other fruits, but dates. Okay? So therefore, that's why the Braita says Hakol holech achar chitum, everything goes after the ending, because even if I wouldn't have fixed it up, it would have been okay. Which is similar to the case that we said that the guy's holding a cup of wine. And he fixed it. And then he thinks shehakol, then he changes to hagafen. So the Gemara said that's not such a great chidush. Because even if he finished shehakol, he would have been yotzeh. Same thing here. And therefore the Braita is not saying such a great chidush. You cannot infer from the Braita that even in the case when he would say a Baruch Atah Hashem on beer and thinking he wants to say hagafen and then change it to shehakol, that it would work. And therefore the Gemara now is still left with a question, meaning after reading this Braita, according to Rabbi Yochanan, we cannot prove if the bracha would be fixed because you go after the chitum, or you have to go after the ikar bracha and you mess yourself up. Rabbi Chanai Melekashu Omer, Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakot Yisrael, Lefikach Hi B'Leim Toyu Mitzvah, Shenera Alivei Chofetz T'man Tzitz V'Yadir Torah V'Yadir. Skadel v'yiskadel shmei Rabon, Yom Adilach Yisrael T'lusei, Tzmach L'Konei V'Kodei Meshichem, Chayichoin V'Michoin V'Yitlo B'Yisrael, Ba'agolo V'Zman Korid V'Imru Omer, Shmei Rabon Ba'agolam, V'Omer Yom Hayom, Yisbarach Yishtabach, Yisbarach Yisbarach Yistasei, Yisador Yisador Shmei V'Kudsha B'Lichom, Ei, L'Ankom Chosam Shirosot, Chosam Nechnoso, Rabbi Moshe Medresh. I saw that when I told you that, I told you that, I told you that,